The rumble of engines shook the sleepy little town as a pack of motorcycles stormed down the main road like rolling thunder. Chrome glinted beneath the blazing afternoon sun, leather jackets flapped like banners of defiance, and every pedestrian instinctively stepped back. They weren't just bikers, they were the Iron Howlers, a name whispered with awe and caution around these parts. Wherever they went, quiet followed, not because they were cruel, but because no one quite knew what they were capable of. The glass door of Mabel's diner rattled as Razor, their leader, pushed it open. He was tall, broad, with a beard thick enough to house small wildlife and eyes that had seen too much. His boots thudded across the floorboards like warning drums. The locals hunched lower over their plates. Even the coffee machine stopped steaming, as if holding its breath. "Whiskey?" the waitress, Lucy, asked automatically, her voice barely above a whisper. "Milk," Razor said. The word hit the room like a thrown wrench. She blinked. "Milk, too. Cold." Razor jerked his chin toward a booth in the back corner. Only then did anyone notice the pair of children sitting there. A little girl with tangled brown hair and serious eyes. A small boy with cheeks smudged from tears or dirt, maybe both. They sat perfectly still, hands clasped in their laps as if they were in church. Nobody knew where they'd come from. They hadn't ordered anything. They hadn't spoken to anyone. They just sat, waiting. Razor approached the booth with 2 glasses of milk in hand. He placed them gently on the table, as if setting down rare treasure. The boy stared at the glass like it was a miracle. His fingers trembled as he reached for it, but he didn't drink. "Not yet." He looked up at Razor first. "We're not beggars," he said quietly. Razor blinked. That tiny voice hit harder than any punch he'd ever taken. The girl slowly reached into her pocket and pulled out a folded scrap of paper. She smoothed it out carefully on the table. Bold, uneven letters filled the page. "Please give us 2 glasses of milk. Our mother went to heaven. We will return the money when we grow up. Promise." The room went dead silent. Razor felt something crack inside his chest, a fracture carved out of memories he'd buried long ago. Nights shivering behind dumpsters, stolen meals, that gnawing humiliation of needing help but hating pity. He saw himself in those kids. Small, proud, hungry. Skull, a mountain of tattoos and muscle beside him, cleared his throat loudly and turned away, blaming invisible dust in the air. Razor crouched down so he was eye level with them. "What are your names?" The girl lifted her chin with quiet dignity. "Lily, and this is my little brother, Ben." He nodded slowly. "Well, Lily and Ben, consider this a loan." Her eyes blazed with ferocity. "Then write it down." Razor stared at Lily, stunned by the iron in her voice. She was barely 9, yet she spoke like someone who'd been holding her family together for years. Ben gripped his glass with both hands but still hadn't taken a sip, as if he were waiting for permission from the universe. "You want it written?" Razor asked. Lily nodded firmly. "Mama said never take anything for free. If someone gives you something, pay it back, even if it takes forever." Razor swallowed hard, the weight of her words pressing on him like armor he hadn't worn in years. He pulled out a napkin and a pen from Lucy's pocket. She handed it silently, eyes shining with unshed tears. Carefully, he scribbled, "Milk loan, to be repaid by Lily and Ben when grown." Razor, Iron Howlers. He slid it across the table. Lily examined it like a lawyer reviewing a contract. Ben finally took a tiny sip of milk, and his whole body relaxed. With relief, that simple joy, the satisfaction of a child tasting comfort, struck Razor like a lightning bolt to the soul. Skull leaned close and whispered, "We doin' this, boss?" Razor didn't answer. He just kept watching the kids. "Where do you live?" Razor asked softly. Ben spoke this time. "In the yellow house by the railroad, well, near it. It's kind of broken." He hesitated. "We sleep in the shed now. The house smells bad," Lily added quickly, "but we clean it. We're trying." Every biker at the table stiffened. Some of these men had slept under bridges. Some in their bikes, sidecars. All of them knew the sting of having nowhere to belong. "And your dad?" Razor already suspected the answer but asked anyway. Lily's gaze hardened. "He left after Mama died. Said he couldn't do it anymore." She held Ben's hand tightly. "But we can." A long silence fell. No one knew what to say. Even the people in the diner had forgotten their food. Forks remained suspended midair. Finally, Razor stood up. His voice was steady, but his eyes burned. "You two have a job starting now." Lily blinked. "A job? You said you'll pay us back when you grow up, right?" "Well, we'll make sure you grow up right." Razor turned to his men. Skull, Tank, Diesel, bike shops got an office we never use. Clean it out. Make it theirs. The bikers exchanged looks of confusion, then dawning realization. Not pity, respect. Ben looked unsure. You want us to work with you? Razor smiled, not his usual smirk, but something gentler, unfamiliar. Every pack needs new riders. You got heart. That's all that matters. Lily's lips parted. She didn't cry. She wouldn't let herself, but her grip on Ben tightened like she was anchoring herself to reality. So, Razor said, extending a massive hand across the table. Deal. Lily stared at it, hesitated. Then, slowly, she placed her tiny palm in his. Deal. The moment Lily's small hand met Razor's calloused grip, something shifted in the air. Not just in the diner, but in every man watching. These weren't just children anymore, they were pack members. Ben finally gulped down the rest of his milk with a loud slurp. He wiped his mouth with his sleeve and whispered, "Do bikers drink milk a lot?" That broke the tension like glass. Laughter erupted across the diner. Real, unrestrained laughter that made shoulders shake and bellies ache. Skull slapped the counter so hard the salt shaker jumped. "From now on, kid," Skull declared between chuckles, "we do." Razor ruffled Ben's hair with a gentleness no one knew he possessed. "Finish up," he said. "We got work to do." Lucy, the waitress, leaned down beside Lily. "Sweetheart," she whispered, "do you have anything at the house you need to get?" Lily thought for a moment. "Just Mama's necklace. And Ben's blanket." She straightened her shoulders. "We can carry our own things." Razor nodded. "Good. Proud riders carry their weight." The other bikers stood, helmets in hand. They moved like soldiers preparing for a mission, except this one was more sacred than any fight. Protecting two children wasn't charity. It was duty. As they stepped outside, curious townsfolk peered from windows and doorways. Usually, they crossed the street when the iron howlers rolled in. Now they watched in awe as Razor lifted Ben onto the front of his bike, securing him with a spare leather strap like a prized treasure. Skull crouched so Lily could climb up behind him. "You ever ridden before?" Skull asked. Lily shook her head. "Will it be scary?" Skull grinned. "Only if you close your eyes." She didn't. The engines roared to life, not like thunder this time, but like song. A promise, a declaration. As the convoy rolled through town, people stepped aside, not out of fear, but reverence. The image would be talked about for years. Hardened bikers escorting two tiny riders, helmets too big for their heads, clinging tightly but smiling wide. They stopped first at the crumbling yellow house by the tracks. Lily and Ben rushed inside, emerging moments later with a small jewelry box and a tattered blue blanket. Lily paused at the doorway and looked back at the house, not with sorrow, but farewell. Razor watched her closely. "You ready?" She nodded. "Yes. Mama always said home isn't walls. It's people." Razor swallowed the lump in his throat. "Smart woman." The bikes roared again, and the iron howlers vanished into the horizon with two new members, Lily clutching her mother's necklace, Ben wrapped in his blanket, both sitting taller than ever before. Back at the diner, Lucy wiped her eyes and whispered to the cook, "Did they just adopt them?" The cook stared out the window. "No," he said with a proud smile. "They just crowned them." And from that day on, everywhere the iron howlers rode, people swore they heard two smaller engines humming among the thunder, the sound of childhood rebuilt on steel and love.